We're going to be ranking running backs. For those of y'all listening, we talked on Twitter with a number of fans this week. It started with CJ2K, I guess, remarking that the Titans had the best stable of backs of all time as a franchise.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of was like, okay, listen, he's got it. There's a case to be made, but the guys that were shared on the graphic, whatever was the check down or whatever, was Derrick Henry, CJ2K, and Eddie George. And so I go, and I didn't even mean to make it a Rams are the best franchise for running backs deal, but I go, listen, I played with two guys here that if you're going to put Derrick Henry on the list, you have to put Todd Gurley on the list, in my opinion. If Derrick's elite through his first 4 or 5 years, so is Todd.
That's right. Todd won an offensive MVP or offensive player of the year.
Yes.
And which should have been the MVP, but Tom Brady decided to throw for whatever it was, 50 touchdowns that year.
Yeah, that feels like, well, if you look at last Sunday, it doesn't feel like that long ago. But I posited that, Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk, Todd, and Steven Jackson, who I learned on Twitter this week, nobody watched play.
How's that possible?
Yeah, I don't. Well, we were
really bad lighting on that Edward Jones.
Yeah, but he was like
he was the guy.
He had the hair. Yeah. He was like dynamic. He was strong. He was fast. I loved watching. That's right. And he caught the ball. I loved watching Steven Jackson.
And fans. What I also learned, which I didn't learn, it was just reinforced pretty handily. That fans, if you asked them who they thought and they weighed in, it was always their favorite team. I had some Colts fans explaining to me that when I cited that group of 4 Rams running backs, they go, well, we had Edgerrin James and we had Eric Dickerson and Marshall Faulk. I'm like, fuck, dude, you can't take Rams running backs. They spent more time and were more productive with the Rams.
True. But wasn't Eric Dickerson, though? Wasn't he also a Colt and then a 49er? These guys kind of have been, they kind of barred the brands of all the teams, right?
Well, so that was one that came up with Thomas Jones. Because we were going through Bears backs for a second.
Okay, so who is Thomas Jones in your mind? Where do you see him as? I'm biased because I see him as a Jet.
And Macon pointed that out as well. I was trying to fit a square peg in a round hole with the Jets and Thomas Jones, or with the Bears and Thomas Jones, to add him to a really nice group of backs when you pit them up against the NFL's elite from a franchise.
True, but not deep on the list of 10,000-yard rushers.
Yeah,
and it's circumstance, but it is what it is. Matt Forte never got to 10,000. Got close, he didn't get there. Gale Sayers, obviously, we know had a massive knee injury, but you have the greatest of all time in Walter Payton. So.
To me, they're really so. Like, these were the teams that we discussed, and to set the parameters here, if you want to include a back, this is how I wrote it out. They can't have earned more yards of production elsewhere, a la Jerome Bettis. I don't claim Jerome Bettis, as a Ram because he was there for 2-3 years. I mean, he was still really good there, but he's a Steeler. Yep. And my gripe with Colts fans and using Marshall, because Marshall was. He made history with that group, and he had more production there, and he won a Super Bowl. And, but another parameter is, and this is the biggest wrinkle of the whole conversation if we're even going to have it, there were Titans fans, and this is compelling, that claimed that Earl Campbell should have been considered a Titan because it's the same franchise.
Same franchise history.
What say you?
I would have to agree with that because the Titans kept the franchise history, right? The Houston Texans don't have the old franchise history of the Houston Oilers. You know what I mean? The Houston Oilers went with Tennessee. They are in Tennessee. So I think I got to say that Earl Campbell kind of by extension is Tennessee.
So in the running here, we have not eliminated the Steelers. We have not eliminated the Cowboys, the Titans, the Rams. Are the Bears in or out in the top?
Out. Bears have got to be out. As much as I love Walter Payton, he's my guy. The other guys just didn't have enough total
their top
yardage.
Two are just, if you went off top two, it'd be hard to compete with their top two.
You're right.
So we've got...
But we're not doing top two.
No, and are you going... What are we doing with Jim Brown and Marion Motley, who were running over electricians?
Yeah, Jim Brown is one of the greatest ever. He's probably at the top of my list, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Not like statistically speaking. Relatively speaking, he's best running back ever. But you're right. He was. Imagine Derrick Henry playing in 1970.
Dude.
that's what it was. That's what it is.
Look at pictures of Marion Motley on the field, and I'm like, who gave the yoked guard the ball? Like,
That's right.
Who gave the Quentin Nelson of that era the ball, bro?
Dude, because in that era, a guy that size is like, all right, you're playing tackle, you're playing guard.
Yeah.
And at some place, at some moment on his path, whether it was in little league or college, he was like, I'm carrying the football.
Yeah.
And
everyone's like, okay.
They're like, no, you're not. No, I'm carrying the football. Okay. he bullied his way into that position.
He was a beast. He looked like he had football pads on. But he was literally just wearing like a sweater. So the Browns are out of it. We're going Cowboys, Titans, Rams, and is there anybody else that you Steelers? So let's eliminate somebody here.
Let's eliminate the Steelers.
Okay,
because I can't go Lev as much as I love Le'Veon Bell, and he's one of those do everything backs. He's the Marshall Faulk, Christian McCaffrey type player. He was kind of the second generation of that coming back.
So we just eliminated respectfully.
Yes.
One of the teams here, and we're down to the Cowboys, Titans, and Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say,
how many years was Dickerson with the Rams?
I want to say 6. Make, you want to check that? I know that he played longer in LA than he did in Indy or anywhere.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he finished in Atlanta. There's one of those weird pictures of a guy that like you didn't know played somewhere, like Franco Harris in Seattle. Yeah. It's burned into my brain, that picture of him in a Seattle uniform. I think he finished in Atlanta.
Finished in Atlanta, 5 with the Rams.
5 with the Rams. How many?
Give me his history.
Yeah.
His team history, if you have it.
Rams 83 through 87. Then he goes to Indy in the middle of that year, 87 through 91. Raiders and Falcons.
And what did he do? Yardage, accolades in LA.
LA, he went 1,800 year 1, 2,100 year 2.
Jeez.
1,800 again year 4.
Wow.
And his next best year is 1,659 for the Colts in his first full year there. But
then it went downhill after that first full year.
It did.
But his best was with the Rams.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean he's damn near 7,000 yards with the Rams, right?
Yeah. So we're counting him.
He's Rams. Yeah, he's Rams.
You're good to count. Who else was it in there? That Marshall, because of
Falk, Dickerson, Steven Jackson.
And if you're going to count D Hen, you got to count Todd Gurley, in my opinion.
Yeah. So they have 4. I mean, they're deep.
4 bona fides. And
yes.
Can we eliminate the Cowboys?
You got Emmett and you have Dorsett. But Herschel Walker was in there, but he was more of
if we're letting Herschel Walker in there, then we're letting McCutcheon in there in LA, and then it's like about the 5,000-yard guys, and that's an incredible career, but it's like, do we let him, do we?
No, I think we can eliminate the Cowboys. I think you're right.
With a quick shout out to Calvin Hill.
Calvin Hill, yes, absolutely. Calvin Hill. Tony Dorsett is 10th all time. Emmett's number 1. And also, I wonder if you as a running back look back at Emmett, who's awesome, and this is not to take a shot, but his situation was great too.
Yeah, of course. He had the greatest line in the history of the NFL.
He had the anti-Steven Jackson.
Right. And by the way, he had a great quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback, and a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and a pretty good tight end as well. They had everything.
And he'd probably be placing on all these lists even if he were somewhere else, but to be number 1, it undoubtedly helps.
Yes.
It helps.
Honestly, I think if it was just 2, I think the Cowboys would be over the Bears.
You think so with Tony and Emmett?
Tony and Emmett.
The folklore around those 2 guys in Chicago is just huge.
Yeah, but statistically, an impact. Yeah, it's a hard one because you'd have to judge it. This is just the 2-person, best of all time. You'd have to judge it off of intangibles that we, as not observers of that in real time, can't really grasp. You know what I mean?
And I agree.
I didn't see Gale Sayers in real time, but I imagine watching him, the Kansas comment, cutting across people's faces and making people look stupid and silly, had to be. You're standing up, right? You're cheering just because you can be at home and seeing that happen. You're standing up and cheering.
So we'll take the Bears off really respectfully.
Yes,
and it's down to the
Rams and the Titans.
Rams and the Titans, just where the whole discussion began. What say you, Teak?
Are we not including the Raiders? Did the Raiders not get...
So add the Raiders in here. This is why I looked for honorable mentions, but let's go Raiders.
They might be honorable mention because Bo with his hip. But Marcus Allen, I mean, to me, Marcus Allen he did three great things.
Yeah.
One, when Al Davis was fucking with him and said, we don't want you to be the man anymore. You're going to play fullback for Dickerson and Bo Jackson. He did it, and it was a hell of a blocker. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Number two, he has maybe the greatest run in Super Bowl history against the then Washington Redskins, where he reverse field, comes all the way out, comes back, cuts up the middle of the field, and takes it to the house, hits his head on the goalpost, as they like to say. Mm-hmm. And then three, he's one of those other guys like Marshall Faulk. I forgot to mention him. Marshall Faulk, and myself are only the three guys in NFL history with 10,000 yards rushing and 5,000 yards receiving. So to not include Marcus Allen in that conversation...
So they're kind of like the Bears then, in that they're really top heavy. They have two really, really great backs.
Yes.
And then beyond that, no disrespect to anybody. And
honorable mention.
The guy they have there now is fun. I don't know how long it'll last because that guy's a fucking bowling ball and he has no regard for his life. And he played at Alabama, so he's already played in the NFL for 5 years. But I love watching that guy play.
I agree. Josh Jacobs is fun, man. He is fun
because he scares me thinking about 4-minute mode. Like he gives me flashbacks of trying to tackle. Like, I know he's not built like Michael Turner, but like flashbacks of just trying to get this guy down, and he's a nightmare, and he's a lot of fun to watch. So so it's just Rams and Titans here, and I'll go with Earl Campbell. It's a toss up for me. You can have it either way. For the record, Titans fans were not arguing that; they were arguing those three over the Rams, which I think is ludicrous. At Earl Campbell, I'll go either way. What say you, T?
CJ, Chris Johnson, how many yards did he finish with in his career?
He finished with around 9,000, I want to say. You want to check that, Make? He also had one of the most amazing years I've ever seen in 2009.
96.51.
96.51.
But that's sub 10,000. It's just the one.
He's
zero.
about high highs. There was his years with Tennessee. He had 6,000 yards in 5 years, or maybe even how many years?
But he rushed for 2,000, which nobody does. I mean, it's rare.
And catch the ball.
He did. But was it quite a 5,000 yard guy?
No.
So,
but I mean, okay. So,
but he does have the greatest all-purpose season, at least yards from scrimmage, not all-purpose, yards from scrimmage season. It was because it was Marshall and then me, and now I think it's CJ, Marshall, and then me. So that's interesting.
So would you take? So I guess we're looking at his closest comp is out of the group is Todd Gurley, Derrick Henry, and Steven Jackson, and then Eric Dick. No, Steven Jackson. And if you pit Steven Jackson against Eddie George, I didn't know this. Steven's got more yards, more touchdowns, more yards per carry. And they're both great players, but it's amazing how dismissive some Titans fans were of Steven Jackson's career.
That's right.
8 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
I know. It's like Curtis Martin for the New York Jets. People don't think about him. God, it's like, the dude rushed for... do we need a game plan for Curtis Martin? Nah, he's not going to hurt us. 110 yards and a touchdown later. He did it every year.
Quiet, too.
Quietly did it.
Tiki, terrible news. Christian McCaffrey had 2 more yards from
That's right. That's right. He moved ahead of me. That's right.
What a jerk.
Yeah. But how many yards rushing did he have?
So what's it going to be while we get this?
1,200?
1,387.
I had 1850. I don't want to hear it.
There we go. That's what I like. The facts. We got the facts here. Virginia guys got the facts. Hey,
that's right.
So are you going with Earl Campbell, or are you going Tennessee? I'm going to stay out of this because people are going to say it's political for me.
I got to go the Rams.
Wow.
There it is.
Bona fide. 2 times.
And you know what does it? The Hall of Fames.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Chris Johnson's not going to get the Hall of Fame. Eddie, I love Eddie. I have I think 4 more yards or 5 more yards than Eddie.
Right.
rushing yards in my career.
Yeah.
But I don't think Eddie's going to get in the Hall of Fame, just like I don't think I am. Earl Campbell is. Derrick Henry might. So if we have this conversation 5 years from now,
you think Derrick Henry could? You don't think the carries are going to catch up in the physicality? I'm not betting against him. I'm just asking.
Chris, nobody wants to hit him, dude.
Tiki, I appreciate you, man. I'm glad we settled the debate on the Rams being the group with, and I didn't say it. Tiki said it, and I trust guys with numbers like him.
Dude, we had a reasoned conversation.
Yep.
We talked it out, made some
two UVA guys. That's how we hash things out.
Wow, brother.